Seeing that it's 6 o'clock, I'm going to call to order the January 20th Village Board meeting for the Village of Belleville. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Roll call, please.
Yeah, President Service.
Present.
Dana.
Here.
Honor. Here. Hannah.
Here.
Hypercraft. Here. Kazmar.
Here.
And Beeler.
Here. When the public comment period begins, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and participants may speak for up to 3 minutes on items on the agenda. All virtual attendees must have their full names displayed. And public comment is allowed. Attendees on Microsoft Teams and sheet participate should click raise. If on video, attendees will be called on in order of which hands are raised. Have any public comment?
One time. Connie.
Hi, Hereford. Although I'm here once again to bring up the fact that we can no longer ask questions or speak. We cannot ask questions about things we don't no longer talking about. You talk amongst yourselves and you decide things amongst yourselves, and we can't give our opinion in. That is shutting up the people. You say what things are going to look like, what stays, what goes. You work for the people of Belleville. You're not listening to the people. Look around the room, who's all here? The people here that used to come, no, they don't come anymore because they feel they're not listened to. And now it's even worse because you're not listening, you're not letting us talk. Don't tell me I get to talk this time because this has got nothing to do with this. I don't know what you're going to talk about. You're going to talk about, here's your label, but I don't know what you're going to talk about in between. I don't know what you're talking about, what questions I need to ask, what's going on, what's my opinion. In my opinion, you talk about you work for the people. Public is what we do. I'm the only public that's here. So I guess I'm the one you listen to. The public is not coming because they feel you don't listen. And it makes me upset that none of them will come anymore. I think you should be ashamed of yourself.
See else. End up for tonight.
All right, consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are considered routine and will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member requests it, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered the first item after the approval of the consent agenda. And tonight we have the village board meeting minutes from January 5th. We have a special event application for winter farmers market and resolution 2026-02 in support of the tax grant application.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
By Deb, seconded by Debbie. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? It passes. President's report. I do not have anything for tonight. Staff reports.
We are holding a primary election on Tuesday, February 17th. It is Dane County owned. So if you're in Greene County, relax, you got a couple months. Dane County absentee ballots for people that have requests on file. I just picked up the ballots today, so those will be going into the mail by the next couple of days. So everyone can be on the lookout for those. They have to be returned by election day, 8 p.m. to here, because the polling place is now here at 137. quick reminder to purchase your dog tags. And also a big plug for tomorrow night's arts and culture meeting, because the more people we have interested in participating, the better the anniversary party will be. So that's all I have.
Yeah, just Eric's here tonight. Eric has completed his field training and is now on solo patrol. He's covering afternoons for us. And also tonight, and I'll have Zach stand up since you already are well acquainted. Zach Anderson started with us on Monday and he is in field training. So I'll let Zach introduce himself.
Hi there, Zach Anderson. I live in Janesville, recently came from the Beloit Police Department. Looking forward to joining the Belleville family and teams and getting to know all of you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Zach, I just shake your hands and. I know.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks to you. Thank you. Happy to be here. I love you.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Met you guys. If I share our meeting. Guys, get it on. It just looks sick.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all I have.
True.
Nothing.
All right. Old business. Discuss, consider One West Main architect proposals.
Yeah, so the board a month or so ago asked me to go out for RFP for the One West Main architect's proposal. We were said Angus Young. I did not require them to submit another RFP because they had submitted a very thorough proposal. So I reached out to about 4 or 5 more based on some recommendations from other administrators and then just people who do this type of work. Sketchworks was the only one who submitted to me. They did submit a slight bit late though. But which is why I told you a while ago that we only had one. They did submit after the deadline, but they did submit. You can tell that the Sketchworks is a lot less expensive than the Angus Young one. I think there is a little bit of, I think they need to get, Angus Young has been in the building, so I think they have a better understanding of what work needs to get done in timeframes. I think Sketchworks is a little bit too ambitious. I like it, but I think it's a little bit too ambitious for mine. But I think both do a fine job. Angus Young works in Belleville a lot, Belleville company. The others from Belleville, they know what we do, but Sketchworks I think would be just fine as well.
Where are they located out of Sketchworks? Sorry.
Madison.
You said they turned it in late. How late? What was the date?
They turned it in on the day. It was just probably an hour or two late.
And what was that?
I don't remember what the
It
time
says
was.
date on the letters, the 9th.
So the estimated total is what they're saying the total thing will be to get the building,
Nope, that's just their cost. That's not construction. That's not
as was their part of looking it over.
their part of designing it, looking it over, the project management of it, the picking the furniture, the everything is just the bid documents, being the project manager, but not construction, not the actual furniture, not that stuff.
So can anything from the current village hall be moved over there to reduce cost?
Potentially some of it, but not most of it, because we're having to build walls and all of that. The food pantry is gonna take some of the stuff inside there, and then so is the senior center that's already in One West Main. But no, our furniture is not worth keeping.
It's probably safe to assume that, these two proposals are strictly for design and in feasibility. The Any equipment, furniture, construction, that's all a completely separate bid process.
Which they will manage for us, but it'll be a very different cost. And both will manage the construction of it.
So Sketchworks redid Oregonsville.
That is what it appears, yeah.
Is that the right mileage they have in 66 cents? I thought it was 72 and a half.
They want to do 62, then
Well, I
they,
know it's to our benefit, but I'm just questioning, isn't that?
Like the 25 to 70, that's, I have looked at the 25 mileage X, that's 72 and a half. It's only drive.
Apparently they haven't either.
It does represent not insignificant savings.
Oh.
Right, but if you really look at it, there are quite a few differences. Angus Young will provide a little bit more than Sketchworks in their costs.
What do you got for examples?
Let's see. So not included in services from Angus Young. Include will not coordinate the provision of any of the following soils, concrete material, performance testing, site surveying, design or pre-engineered building components, other professional service such as real estate, accounting, or legal, blah, blah, blah. Angus Young will not have control or charge of and will not be responsible for construction means, methods, techniques, sequences, procedures, or safety precautions programs. I believe Sketchworks said that they. Let me look. Oh, no, sorry, they are the same. Hazardous material survey testing, reports, fees, construction document examination fees.
So Angus Young also excludes cost estimating, value engineering, programming of space planning, marketing image, FFE selection, post-construction service. And that's services.
Yes. So, I mean, when you look at who will provide the most for the bang for our buck, I would have to go with Sketchworks. You know, they're $20,000 less.
Kelly, I agree. That was my thought too.
I mean, to me, when I'm looking at this, it looks like because they will do construction administration. They review the shop drawings and submittals, requests for information.
I seem to have the same thing for us, 20 grand plus
Yeah.
They will attend the biweekly construction meetings.
differences.
There's quite a few. Sketchworks. Their deliverables are kind of. I'd probably see more for less money. And they'll even design the furniture plans.
that is the plan.
And so the MEPs, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. They will design, I don't remember if Angus Young said they would.
Shelley, do you have any idea what the reimbursable expenses might be since you're a construction person?
It could vary.
But there probably wouldn't be $20,000 worth.
It would be $20,000 worth, but but just comparing the two RFPs. I know like for a really good example, but. See, Angus Young's hourly rates are much higher. It should be. Sketchworks also has very good reputation. I've worked with them in the past. I've also worked with Angus Young and they're very reputable too. I think bottom line is we want to save the $20,000, which I would have to say yes.
Yeah.
It's pretty substantial savings.
I would make a motion, we proceed with Sketchworks.
Second.
Debbie's motion, seconded by Tony to proceed with Sketchworks. Any other comments? Gary?
Nope.
Deb?
Nope.
Ellie? Yeah. Nope. Nope. I have one. I will agree with Sketchworks. But I will disagree entirely with spending any of this money because I'm still against moving Village Hall. So
Fair enough,
my stance.
fair enough. I respect you.
All right. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I'm opposed. Motion passes 6-1.
I think.
Next item, discuss and consider the Belleville Community Foundation bylaws.
Yeah, so these bylaws were in front of you a while ago, and then you guys liked the concept of the idea, which then we took to the Finance and Governance Committee. They had recommended unanimously to send it to you guys. The Belleville Community Foundation would be a separate entity of the village. You guys will appoint the first board, run autonomously. The president and another board member would sit on it. But it does the 501(c)(3) arm of the village that we can't do. Donations, stuff like that, potential scholarships, rent assistance, utility assistance, you name it, they can do it. We'd be setting it up as the fundraising arm of the food pantry. It would be a special revenue fund, just as the food pantry is, so it'd be an audit like we would normally have. Ideally, staff time would be spent setting it up, and then we would have probably bill back staff time once it's kind of more established and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's kind of up to you guys if you feel like we want it. It's definitely for tax purposes and kind of better donating and ask for funds, especially if we're gonna do like park projects and be like, hey, do you want to help put up a ball diamond fence? And if we do, do you want to help with rent assistance, or do you want help with utility assistance, or are you interested in donating, to the food pantry? We had an individual who wanted to donate stocks and bonds. That would have been easier with 501(c)(3). But yeah,
Regarding that it's an entity that needs to be audited. Where would the fee for that audit be taken from?
until the village would take it until such time as it could self-sustain itself.
And probably pretty low at cost.
I would assume so.
Probably be moving to standard auditing anyway, right?
It would probably be a little bit of an, it'll cost a little bit more, but not substantially more, I wouldn't assume. Staff time is gonna take time to set up, the tax stuff and all that things and get everything set up and credit cards. Oh, this will act. Get the board set up and make sure the bylaws run it through Rick one more time,
I'll make a motion that we done.
Yeah, I was gonna say something.
Okay, go ahead.
So just a couple of points here, and the finance recommended this to the board. But also, for those of you that might not have been online for the finance committee meeting, we had a healthy discussion about committees and people that are participating in committees, whether it be board members and or citizen members. If you read the bylaws closely, these citizen members have a lot of responsibilities on this committee. So whoever Mike appoints and we approve, there needs to be some vetting because I think they need to make sure that they know what we're expecting out of it. It's a little different than coming to finance or public works or police or whatever as a citizen member and everything is more or less put in front of you by staff. These people are going to be expected to go out and hit the pavement. So
Need to engage.
yes. So like I said, I'm all in favor of this, but I just want to point that out.
I think that's a valid point. Yeah, they're gonna be able to do things that we may not be able to, like go to Epic or, try to get donations that staff just doesn't have that capacity or time to be able to do. So they're gonna have to be dedicated.
Motion, or you want me?
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we approve the Belleville Community Foundation bylaws.
Second.
Give it to Gary.
Okay.
So motion by Deb, second by Gary to approve. Any other comment?
Question?
Yep.
So the people at large or the people that are on this committee that are not board members, do they have to live in the village, within the school district? Do they be property owners? Is that, I didn't see what that was specific about.
Awesome.
I don't think it was.
I mean, we might have a little broader net, we might get a little bigger response. It's just a thought.
I agree.
It says residents at large.
Yeah,
But
resident.
it could be residents in the school district. And property owners,
Can be.
but do we need to specify that in there?
Specify as much as you possibly can.
So then would we have to change the
Let's need to amend the motion.
motion,
Yeah, you would amend the motion.
be a little more inclusive as to who can be on this from the people at large, I guess, for lack of a better term?
Yeah, you would need to just make a motion to amend.
Or consensus.
Or have, unanimous consensus on the change.
So you need to propose how you want it amended specifically,
Okay, so I
and then
would,
we'll put it to consensus and see if.
so I would put an amendment to this that people other than board members to be on this committee can be within this, live within the school district and be property owners within the village.
All about property.
I'm sorry, business owners. I'm sorry, wrong
Yeah.
word.
Business owners.
Yeah, business.
Property owners anyway.
Well, renters.
Business owners.
Yeah, business owners.
Business owners, yeah.
So a wider net's not gonna hurt anything.
So your amendment is citizen members must be within the school district and be business owners.
And or business owners. So they can be included in this also if they want to be.
So it'd be residents of the village.
I mean, maybe somebody don't like to be on one of these committees.
So I think there's a difference between,
Yeah.
so if we went citizens, resident of the village or own a property or, own a business in the village. And then you said something about school district so,
I'm asking, could they live within the school district?
well, I think if we,
Or is that too broad an
yeah,
answer?
that might be true. If we just did citizens of the village and people who own
Business owners.
business owners of village businesses. Leave it.
Or we can always expand it out
Yeah.
later if we want to.
Yeah, if we can't find anybody, then yeah, maybe we need to look, so. So maybe we just go that way and leave the school district out of there for now, so.
I guess I was thinking the school district provides,
More
Why?
diversity.
a wider net of people that are actively involved in, obtaining this, like, this type of thing for, oh, the school has their own
Yeah,
method of fundraising.
yeah,
So,
What if a kid who goes to the school district gets a scholarship and doesn't live in Belleville? Are they?
well, those rules are gonna have to be all laid out, just like there's gonna have to be some guidance for the scholarship, so that'll have to be laid out by the committee what they put in there, so.
But then would they, yeah, I guess. That kind of-
Scholarships can be really specific when they fill out their for this poll, but it doesn't necessarily. The same thing with like working in luncheon. School kids have to be residents of Belleville,
Right,
not just at the high school.
right.
And there are 7 different municipalities at that high school, so that is, I mean, I can understand wanting a wider net, but that's a very wide net. so.
Yeah, that's too wide, I think, so.
so can someone repeat the amendment?
Tell you what I have citizen members on this board, the board, right?
Yeah.
Yep, would be residents and or business owners, correct?
And drop the school district
Yeah.
for now. We'll see.
I'll second it, I guess, and then if we don't need to vote on it, we don't need to vote on it, but
Okay. So we have consensus. Anyone opposed to the amendment? Okay. So the full motion then by Deb is that to approve the community foundation bylaws with the edit of citizen members must be residents of the village and or business owners within the village. Correct.
Yep.
All right. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. New business. Discuss and consider Lake Bellevue restoration plan.
Okay. In early January, Jason got back to us with the lake study. The majority of it, there's still a little bit of work they need to do in the spring. I forwarded the studies to you all, I don't know, a week ago or so. So based off those studies, the results of those studies, I came up with the concept for a plan for essentially perpetual maintenance of the lake, if it would work out. Before I go into that, while it's not the focus of this, if anyone's got any questions about that study, I'd be happy to answer them. And if there's anyone watching, those documents can be accessed via the agenda for the last ad hoc meeting. They're all attached. But if anyone have any questions about the study that they read, just to make sure so everything that I say makes sense. I don't want anyone to be lost. So, okay. So very briefly, what the study found is that a lot of the lake's problems that it has really are not driven by anything we are doing as people. It's not pollution driven. It's not phosphorus runoff. It's essentially an internal natural cycle. Nature's not always pretty the way we imagine it having a natural equilibrium. It is a carp centric ecological cycle that's going to continue to go down and down and down and spiral down. The carp are killing off the plant life, and that's stirring the way they feed, and they're killing the plant life, stirring up the bottom, which is increasing turbidity, which means there's not sunlight getting down to the bottom. So you've got those things which are causing the plants to be unable to recuperate. They can't grow back. They can't maintain a healthy population. When you have low oxygen as well, and when you have low oxygen, it leads to phosphorus cycling. Phosphorus from the low oxygen areas of the lake bed gets released, which causes our algae blooms. It's all just, it's actually several self-reinforcing cycles. And if we leave it to its own devices, it's only going to get worse. It's never going to recover. However, I did come up with a plan for recovery. It's a few different steps. It begins with year one aggressive carp kills, netting, electroshock, whatever, probably several run-throughs. We do that in the first year, along with a professional invasive species removal of the plant life. That shouldn't actually be that difficult. We found that the invasive species, other than the milfoil, was fairly well contained to isolated spots. Year two, we continue the carp kill, but then year two, we actually begin reseeding the bottom of the lake with plant life. And this is actually, I was surprised when I learned about it. It's actually people in like scuba gear going down and planting plants. They found that's the best way to do it. You essentially cordon off areas with fencing so that the carp can't get in there immediately, because we're not going to kill all the carp. We're going to try. We're not going to. It's not going to succeed. And then yearly after that, it will be yearly carp kills. And we will essentially have to continue that. It may never end, honestly. I can't say for sure. But right now, our estimates are that there's somewhere between 250 and 450 pounds of carp per square acre. And that, I think it's 44-acre lake. The sustainable sort of, to have a lake the way we want with game fish and such, the sustainable measure is about 50 pounds per square acre. So we need to dramatically reduce that. And I did some cost estimating on this, internet stuff. And that first year where we do the big kill for the carp and the invasive species, estimate about $200,000. And then like single or double run carp kills, 1 or 2 a year. Yearly after that, about $30,000. So the reality of that is that $200,000 out of that fund, we could leave the majority of that money in that fund to collect interest. And that interest minus $200,000, or even if I sort of use the contractor rule of assume your estimates are 1/3 off and it's $300,000, not $200,000, still will be plenty to generate $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 in interest every year, which will more than pay for the carp kills. And if you're judicious with that little bit of extra money, you should still be able to afford other smaller projects for the lake for the intention of that bequeathment. And if we're diligent about that, it literally could be in perpetuity. And I do want to note this did occur to me, and it's sort of off the point, but I did want to state it. If this were to happen and you did this years down the road, when you're doing 1 carp kill a year and you spend $30,000 and you get 100 pounds of carp, and you start saying, well, this isn't worth it, don't back off, because you will go right back to where you started. Anyway, so that's sort of my spiel, and what I'm asking for at the request of the ad hoc committee, although actually I'll pause for a moment. Gary or Scott or anyone, do you guys want to have any input?
Well, I think,
I might ask.
one thing, if you read the full page that he put out, we talked about there's some grant money available. I think the committee felt that we've had this money for 3 or 4 years or 5 years now, that I think grants are something we should apply for down the road, but I think we need to start doing something so that people know that that something actually starts to look like it's getting done. So, so the recommendation was to not have a delay and to get into this right away, to go out for, if it got approved here tonight, that to put an RFP together, RFPs, plural, together to get it out so that we can get somebody to bid on this. And one of those things would be, I would say, a perpetual maintenance plan, but I think we had 10 years was what was mentioned in there. But yeah, I think the last thing we want to do is spend a couple $100,000 on this in the next year or two and then just not do anything. So, yeah.
Maintenance.
Yeah, yearly preventative maintenance. There are still some items on the list that we need to talk about, but the water quality and the invasive species were the major things that have come out of everything, all the meetings we've had and everything. So, that's,
Killing the carp is gonna help.
yeah, killing the carp will help. And then, yeah, when Drew told us how they planted the new plant life in there, that'll be interesting to watch when they put the stop the fish from going in there. That'll be an interesting project to watch as it happens. But, so and there are other things, and again, if you haven't already, I would definitely encourage you to read both those reports. They're very informative. So
They're very well done.
yeah, the 22,000 or whatever we spent on that was well worth it. So, and like Drew said, there will be a second part to the invasive, or there will be a second report or third report, I guess, to be coming out eventually after the spring gets here, if we ever have spring again. But
Won't be this week.
and so.
Okay, yes, I was asking for several different things. It was a little muddled in my head, so I actually wrote them out. If you want something slightly different, obviously. All right, so I'm asking for permission to produce a report to the board with all that we've done on the ad hoc committee to get to this point. Permission to further develop and elaborate on this plan, which was attached here, and seek more precise information on exact strategies for implementation and solidify the maintenance plan, ensuring long-term diligence. Because that was brought up during the ad hoc that, hey, we need to extend this out. Permission to further explore information on costs for the plan in first year, subsequent years, and the resulting health and use of the bequeathment. Because that's the other half of it. I mean, if you do this, there's still going to be a huge mass of money there to be responsible for. And 4, permission to submit all this to the board with the intent of seeking the approval of attorneys, family, and stakeholders.
So I'll make a motion that we approve all the requests from Drew. And Maren can put those in, so.
By Gary, second by Scott.
I could copy and paste.
I would like, do you want to email that?
I sure will.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Harry, do you remember we used to have the carperies?
Yep,
Do that.
Joel Jacobs wants to have those, trust me, so,
I'll have to get a freezer to put on carpet.
yeah.
So I was just gonna ask, because I remember, didn't we used to do carperies?
Yep.
Yeah.
Fisheries.
Fisheries, right.
Everybody was out there fishing shoulder to shoulder. It was a blast. Can we bullfish though? Oh, you can do that within the village limits.
Again, and
I think you have to go out on towards the islands and bullfish.
All right, so
So when you apply for grants, and if you don't get the grant, can you just keep replying, replying?
sure.
I suppose so. And with what we're doing, actually, what we're doing is right in line with what the DNR is giving grants for. The problem is just simply because of the grant cycle, the way it runs, we would essentially have to, our odds of getting a $50,000 grant are actually quite good. But we would have to delay actually doing what we're doing for a year. Just because of the way the grants go.
Okay. And again, there were 12 or 13 items on the original list of things that we came up with a year and a half or whatever it was ago. So a couple of those have been eliminated because can't put a beach in and that kind of stuff. But if you, again, I would encourage you part of the first study on the invasive species, not the carp one, but they did a bathymetric survey. So you can see, I think the deepest, and I
7 feet.
yeah, it's 7. It was 8 or 9, I think, when we originally did the dredging. So there's been some infill again, but, so that is still the large ticket item that we have to talk about at committee or when it becomes part of parks, if that's what happens down the road. But, because we could dredge again, but I think if we spend, if we're going to spend a lot of money, I don't know if we do a full dredge like that. It might be you go in and dredge in certain spot or something down the road. So, because if again, we'd use the entire bequeathment because
We're gonna dig out all the plants once we've done.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, once we start planning, if we do that and start planning and restocking fish and get rid of the carp, I think the last thing we want to do is draw the lake down at that point, but
We actually, it's funny you brought up the dredging because I actually started looking into some dredging stuff just today.
oh, okay.
There are actually small dredges for shallow lakes, ponds and rivers. $150,000 to $200,000 for the equipment. I mean, if you budgeted this wisely and kind of did what we were talking about, but were willing to delay that several years, you could have that be one of those future small projects. And I mean, maybe you make the 7 feet deeper. That might be difficult with a very small dredger, I'm not sure, but like the large 2-foot flat or those channels that people say are too small, too shallow to even go through now, that I'm sure you could do fairly easily.
And I know years ago, the county has a machine. We had looked at maybe renting that or whatever versus buying one, but those are all things that I think we should explore in the future, whether we buy one or we rent one or whatever, so.
Mike, believe me.
Brandy, it's shop brandy.
Can't be that.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Just choking myself out. Don't worry.
That's good. The ambulance is out.
So, yeah, motion. I'm sorry, were you gonna say something?
I was just going to ask Drew if they said anything about if we drain the lake and if it would kill the carp.
That was an option.
Oh, that is an option, but we did that already and it didn't work. Carp are incredibly resilient.
Yeah.
They find a puddle, one of them finds a puddle of mud, they'll be back. It's gonna take continuous year after year.
I think the other thing we should look at, or at least start investigating a little bit is, and it got brought up the other night, is if we get rid of all these carp and we plant all this plant life, we should look at restocking. We should be on that list of things too at some point. So, because, I think that, I mean, I know people that fish in there, especially below the dam, they can find some great fish down there, but it would be nice if we had if we got that lake to the point where it's much more healthy, than to put some actual kingfish in there.
Yeah,
So
I mean, there are
that's probably a couple of years down the road, but yeah.
there are populations of, healthy population, well, healthy, that's what, I should say, numerous populations of, they're all stunted.
Yeah.
Green sunfish, bluegills, largemouth bass. I don't recall if they found any northern in there, but I suspect.
So I would encourage you, if you haven't read the report yet, read it, because they are there's a lot of good information in there about temperatures and how deep, all kinds of what fish were in there and the average length of the carp and all that kind of stuff in there. So, but
well, I guess I didn't see it in that report, just because we have
East side of the berm or the west side of the berm?
each side is the lake, yeah.
That's what I thought. Closest
we've
to-
had a family of eagles for several years. Getting rid of the carp.
You worry about
I am worried about the Eagles. They'll just take them out of the dumpster.
Game fish will fill the gap.
Yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
I mean, because I know there's always that balance between,
You gotta hold it. Hold.
And you're giving them better quality fish.
Yeah.
Probably.
Healthier fish too. So.
We'll reduce the beavers.
No, I'm glad you brought that up. That got brought up as
Yeah.
part of the meeting, the beavers. I haven't sent it through yet, but I got an email at work. The state is revising their beaver abatement plan right now, so I'm gonna forward that on. So that is definitely one of the things. It's not technically an invasive species, but that's kind of on our list of things that we need to look to get rid of too, so.
And goose abatement also.
Yeah. Beaver and goose. Geese.
All right, the motion on the table is to approve Drew's of 4 points, which is to work on this, finalize this report, elaborate on the plan and long-term solutions for the costs further, and its impacts to the leafman funds, and submit to the board for approval, essentially, correct?
Sounds good.
Should I get them close enough? All right, and that will be mailed to Aaron. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right. Report. So CA.
so we, at our last meeting, came up with some goals for 2026 that we'd like to set for ourselves. Really? See about it. The hot garden, the hot garden. Excuse me, applied for a facade grant. That will be applied to last year. Because the work's already done, but we approved that. Otherwise, that's about it.
Do that retroactive.
It was a weird circumstance with that one.
Well, it's work already completed. They should have said it. The money's coming from this year's budget for a year that was work that was done just recently. But it was 26 budget.
All right. Shelley Parks Rec Forest.
Same thing. We set some goals for ourselves, like to complete to see happen 2026. Parks on Carolina and James will start this year.
And finish this year.
And finish this year. And the trail system, Heritage Trail, will be started. So some exciting things happening.
Nice. Economic development and tourism.
So we talked about the banners, we were talking about goals.
Committee.
Talked about the chief squad take-home policy. We're also looking at bringing back some events once we're fully staffed.
Finance and governments.
As I mentioned, we had a long conversation about several different items. One of which, and I'll talk to you, Mike, because it didn't make the agenda. The first item that I brought up under public or under my chief or sheriff's report, but we also talked ordinances, got through a couple of those, came up with some more revisions. And we had a long discussion on possible restructure of committees, which will be coming back to some of the committees, that'll be coming back to our next meeting, so.
In the process of hiring one.
Planning Commission, we discussed the West Village neighborhood and basically is the mediator between the developer and the HOA there for the moment to get things resolved. And we worked on ordinances, good times. Those are moving forward, so they've been reviewed and I think they'll be showing up in people's mailboxes. So hopefully everyone can get ahead of this stuff. All right, ad hoc.
More or less, we reviewed the Drew did the review of the two reports, came up with this item that we adopted tonight. The other thing that didn't come forward was the buying the testing for the PFAS.
I can address that really quick.
Okay,
We looked over the budget amendment that we made for water quality testing. And the language was general enough and there is still money in that, so
Okay.
we can simply use it under there.
so we're gonna, Drew brought up about testing the lake water for PFAS. Don't ask me the long technical name of that, but so we had said, yeah, and that's good, yeah, because I think the original budget amendment was 25,000.
Yeah,
So and there was 22, yeah, so, okay, so we will be doing that. We'll be starting to test the waters for PFAS on there, so.
And what happens if you find an unacceptable level?
There is very little we can do. I mean, frankly, what we would do, not that it's realistically relevant, but it would essentially be a eating fish cap. You know, don't eat this many pounds of fish out of Lake Bellevue, so I don't think that's really an issue, but.
So when we get those thousands of pounds of carp out there, you can't eat them every month, so.
Well, the cart foil.
If you have a high level, can you qualify for other grants or something? I'm questioning why even buy a testing kit. I don't know how much it costs, but.
$450.
Oh, all right. It's not like it's 20 grand.
No,
Or
no.
something. Right.
But I mean, what is the risk of us
All right.
having those that are,
It's everywhere.
Yeah,
It sadly,
see what the levels are.
it is, but
yeah,
Okay.
What's not on here is fire and EMS.
yeah.
They met last Thursday, first time with the new two separate boards, so we didn't do much.
We elected a new chairperson,
Yeah. So,
And who was that?
Darren Nickel, from the town.
so other than that,
Yeah, that was about it.
we discussed the handbook, the employee handbook on the EMS side and the audit, some of the recommendations in the audit, and those will be moving forward now, so.
Other news and announcements. Quiet time of year. Upcoming community events.
There's the dangers of human trafficking. That's a virtual one on Wednesday, the 28th, 6:30 to 8. I don't know if y'all got the email regarding it. Also, if you've never listened to one of these, it's very eye-opening and hair.
Scary.
Yeah.
Future agenda items.
I don't have a ton at this exact moment, which is shocker. Next meeting will be the first, community of the whole test run. So, keep a lookout for that. February. We have the minutes, that is it. So, I'm sure there was something that pops up.
Right,
You could say you.
next item is closed session. Here we go. The Village of Belleville Village Board will enter into a closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 18.85 subsection 1 subsection E for the purposes of deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. The village board may reconvene an open session and take action on the subject matter discussed in closed session. We have two items tonight, establishing a negotiation position regarding Park Meadows Development Agreement and discuss and consider potential settlement for the raise order for 11 East Main Street.
I make a motion to enter into closed session.
Second.
So me, second by Debbie, roll call.
Let's make that. President Service,
Yes.
Damon,
Yes.
Hunger.
Yep.
Hannah.
Yep.
Yes.
Osmo. Ziegler.
Yes.
Motion passed. In closed session at 6:56. Does anyone know who wants to do this one? Tony?
Something.
Do it, Tony.
We're good.
You ready? We are now in open session at 7:41.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Tony, second by Gary.
Shot it on floor.
All those in favor? Opposed? Are adjourned at 7:42.